Hello and welcome. So, are you tired of the chaos around your emails, particularly in Gmail, right? We get a slew of them, right? Did you know that you can actually manage your emails in Gmail just by making a few small changes to your email address when you're signing up for things? So we're specifically talking about adding dots and plus signs, but they do different things. So we're going to talk tech about how you can use these tools to help bubble up the important emails and let the other ones fall by the wayside. And as a bonus, you can also start to get a feel for who is selling your email addresses when you're giving them to them. Let's get going. Alrighty, so let's get started here. I'm just getting my pieces in place because it's a little tweak, but it can make a big change to how you're having to deal with your emails because we get a lot of emails and you don't want the important ones to fall by the wayside, right? That's really the whole point of this. Like I mentioned in the intro, there's also the benefit of being able to tell, which people or companies that you're giving your email address to who might be selling it because not a great practice, but it happens. So we're going to talk about a couple of ways that you can make some really minor changes to your email address when you're signing up for things to help you sort and filter and identify the problem children who are out there because they're there for sure. So specifically what we're talking about is the idea of being able to add dots or periods, however you want to refer to them, and plus signs to your email addresses. Now, this doesn't require you to set up a new email account or anything. You're going to be able to do this with your existing Gmail account, which is really great. I mean, it takes fractions of a second to do this. And when you get into the habit of it, especially when you're signing up for something new, it really does make things a little bit easier on you. What are the use cases for this? There's a whole bunch, right? The big thing is for filtering and for sorting. It also is something that you can use to kind of manage it inside of your email accounts. Like if you are a person who likes to use the rules, this is another tool you can use for that. It's great if you need to, like if you're a geek and you need to do some testing, it's a good way to do testing. So I do a lot of testing, for myself and with clients, and I don't have to have 50 email addresses. I can just go in and add one of these, and we'll explain which ones to use when in a second. But by doing that, I can track, as I'm testing things, which ones are failing, which ones are working, get different results back. So lots of different use cases for this, and it's such a simple thing, and I know not everybody knows about it, so that's why we're here. We talk about these things here. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you, let me make sure I'm going to bring up the right thing here. I'm changing I did, on the first try, go me. Okay, so this is your standard Gmail email address, right? So it's your username at gmail.com. So that's where you're going to start off from all the time. So first, let's go ahead and we're going to talk about using the plus signs because that is probably the thing that you're going to end up using most often. And all you need to do for that, let's go down a little bit here. Let me do it this way. Okay, is you're going to do username plus anything you want at gmail.com. So when you do this, everything is going to come to that original email address because what happens is Gmail itself treats this combination as this, but you will see in the header information for the email address that it has it on here. So this is where the magic is happening, is this piece of it right here. You can literally put anything you want, no spaces. Obviously there is a limit to the character count, but I've not run into anything that said, no, you can't use that. So just, don't get carried away and try to put War and Peace in there, but you could put in a reasonable amount of characters and be able to get the results that you want out of this. So I know examples help, right? Some context always helps everybody understand these things. Same here. So here are some handy examples, right? So let's say that you want to filter the emails that you're getting from school or you're getting from your kid's school. So you could put in, your username plus school, or you can put the school name, right? So if you've got, different schools that you're dealing with, you can go ahead and do that, and then that will become a filter for you automatically. Let's give you some more examples here. So for work, right, if you're using your Gmail account for work, you can separate out the work emails, which you're probably going to want to bubble up, but you're only going to want to deal with during working hours. So this makes it easy for you to control those by just putting in, using, and you can just put in the word work, or you can put in the name of the company or your boss's name, whatever, works best for you, whatever's going to make the most sense for you. Here's a few more. If you like to send yourself notes, reminders, kinds of things through your Gmail. Now, yes, there's a lot of tools out there to do that, but if you like to use your email box for that, that's totally valid. So you could just put in, username and, notes, or remind me, or, stuff, whatever word is going to trigger in your brain that, oh, okay, right, this is the thing I wanted to remember and I wanted to remind myself about. If you're signing up for newsletters, it's a really good idea to add this kind of a thing, because let's face it, most of the newsletters that you get are completely, valid, and they treat your private information with respect, but every so often something happens. So what I do is I put in my username plus the name of the newsletter, and then that way I can find them quickly. Like, if oh, I read something, there was an email about that, I can quickly go find it. And also I can track to see, if I'm getting emails with this address from somebody other than the newsletter I signed up for. Okay, well then that's telling me that they have sold it, and I want to go and put an end to that. Same thing for shopping. Like, this is really, really handy for me, at least. Hopefully the same for you. This is, it wouldn't really wrap like this. Here, let me put that all in one line for you. There you go. So when you are, making a purchase, and of course you're going to give them your email address because you want to get that confirmation, you want to get the tracking and all that kind of stuff, but they are notorious for, quote unquote, sharing your information. So you can put in the name of the store that you're buying from. And again, not only does it help you sort and filter the stuff, but if you need to go back, like for example, you bought something 2 years ago, it's under warranty, you're having a problem with it, you bought it from store X, this will make it much easier for you to go in and get that original purchase information, because you can just go ahead and search for it that way. Super easy and really handy. I just had to do that with an appliance. Okay, so that's your basics around how you're going to use that kind of thing. And like I said, so the plus sign is really about, you can think of it as categories or filters. It will not create the filter for you, but it kind of does, because it's there, and then you can search for it, you can filter by it. You can also create rules so that if an email comes in with, plus Amazon, right, you can set up a rule so that all of those get put into a folder for you in your inbox, and so all of those end up in one place and they're not cluttering up your main emails, just as an example. So again, lots of flexibility. You don't have to go as far as creating the rule for it. You can just do this when you're placing your orders, and then if you need to go look for something, you can search for it and find it that way. If you don't like to keep those kinds of things around, you can go ahead and do that search, to delete some of them. So it's a really, really handy tool for that kind of thing. Now, in a minute, we're going to talk about dots, but for anybody who is new here, hello and welcome. We're always happy to meet new folks. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. Short version of the story is technology is my day gig. It's also my hobby, so I'm fascinated by the possibilities of it, the new things that are always coming out. So I'm constantly in this world poking around and trying new things. Because of that, friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers tend to come to me when they have questions, when they have problems, when they're looking for recommendations. And I know not everybody has somebody like that in their life, so I'm here for you now. You can come here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I know it's a little late tonight, but 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays, I go live with a topic, and you're always welcome to join. You can jump into the comments and, hang out and say hi and chat with everybody else who's here. Or, you can catch this on replay, and then you can go ahead in the comments, and, if you have additional questions or whatever, let me know. And you could also go here if you want to have me cover a topic, or if you need more information about something, or if you're interested in a one-on-one service. All of that is right here. So welcome, happy to have you here. Alrighty. So let's keep going. Actually, give me 1 second. I want to bring something up because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything, right? Because that wouldn't be good. All right. So here we go. I didn't bring up my notes because I do this all the time, but I really should have my bullet list here because when you're live streaming, you do sometimes forget things. Okay. So we talked about putting that in there and why we would do it. Okay, I did pretty good. Yay me. Alrighty, so let's talk about the other option that you have for this, and that is dots. Now, dots are a different way of adding something to this, giving yourself multiple email addresses from your one core email address, but they don't work the same way as the plus signs because they're not really something you can filter off of. So that doesn't mean that you can't use them personally as a filter or another tool, or if you just, again, if you want additional email addresses and you know that you're always going to use a certain pattern for something as opposed to something else, then it does work as a filter for you. But it's not that it's not that easy search for a term kind of thing, right? So, search for the kid's school name, right? Or search for Best Buy. So it's similar but different. So I just wanted to make that as clear as I can, given what it is. All right, so let me, am I going to hit the right one again? Yes, twice in a row. Okay, bonus points for me tonight. All right, so let's talk dots. So again, this is just something that you can do. So you can put as many dots as you want, or periods or stops, or however you refer to them. We're talking about this element here, right there. You can put as many of those in as you want into your name. So you can put just one, like between your first and your last name, and this will be treated the same as this. So you're not having to create a new email address. This is just giving you a few more options. Come on, cursor, come back. Here we go. So, you could do it after a couple of letters. You could do it, in a pattern. You can do it after every letter, in your username. Whatever it is that is going to work for you, this is just another way for you to customize things without having to have multiple email addresses. Now, yes, we all have multiple email addresses, but this is a way for you to get more mileage out of your Gmail addresses because, like I said, you can put as many of those in as you want. Obviously, there is a character count limit on email address before the @ sign, but I don't know anybody who's really run into it on a regular basis unless they were playing around and just wanted to see how far you can push it before it blows up. Yes, so there is that. So what else? What else do I want to tell you about this? This is all pretty straightforward. It is definitely something that gives you a lot of flexibility. All these variations will still come into your main Gmail account. I really want to make that very clear. This is not creating new ones. This is not going to create, you don't need any tools for this. There's no plugins. This is just native functionality inside of Gmail. Now, this is how it's been for a very, very long time. Could it change someday in the future? Of course, everything is subject to change in technology. But just so you know, it's a good way to do it. Another tip, just another example of how you can use this is if you sign up for a subscription. Whoops, why did that go to sleep? Hang on. Oh, things going to sleep while I'm live is never helpful. Okay. So yes, another tip for this is if you sign up for something that's an ongoing subscription, right? So, your Netflix or whatever memberships you're signing up for, and you want to make it easy to keep track of those charges and any information you get from them. You could do something like your username plus the name of the membership. What I tend to do is I do the name of the membership and the word membership, because that gives me additional flexibility, right? Not only can I search for the name of the company, but also the word membership. If I want to see, if I feel like I'm being nibbled to death with those, micropayments of $5 here a month, $15 here a month, and all that, at some point during the year, usually twice a year, I go through and go, do I really need all of these, or did I just get excited in the moment? So I'll go through and I'll search for everything that is, plus whatever membership, or plus membership, whatever, depending on how you like to structure things. And then I get all this through and I go through and go, I haven't even used that. And then it makes it much easier for me to go back and do those cancellations. So again, it's just about making your life a little bit easier, making it easier to find things. And like I said, if you combine that with rules, which I can do a whole show on if you'd like, just, reach out and let me know. Put it in the comments or reach out here. And I am happy to do a whole show just on rules inside of your inbox. But just on its own, it gives you so much flexibility without having to do anything else. It really is that straightforward and simple. All right, so let me see. Let me just make sure I've given you all of the high points here. This is going to be a quick one because it's not hard to do, but not everybody knows that it's possible. And this way you'll know, and then you can start to try it. I highly recommend giving it a try with something that, just makes your life easier, and it really doesn't take a whole lot of time. Hey, Tech. So yeah, I don't like the rule thing, like that would be a whole, hour show. So I'm not going to get into that in too much, but when you're going into in any email tool, but we're talking specifically about Gmail, you can go in and you can set up a rule that says when an email comes in to this specific address, right? So your username plus Netflix, right? You can say, then put it into this folder for me or in the trash, right? That's the whole concept of rules. Is it's something that you can have the tool do for you before you even opened your email. So it'll go through, and as emails come in, it checks your list of rules to say, okay, this email that just came in, are there any rules that I should apply to this? And if so, it will go ahead and sort it or delete it or do whatever it is that you've told it to do automatically, which means when you come into your email, it's one less thing for you to deal with because you don't have to go in and find those and move those into whatever folder structure you're using or whatever, or delete them. Just be a little careful with the deletes because, like I said, if somebody is charging you for something and they're notifying you of a price change, you don't want that to go into the trash. You want to know that that's happening. Or if you're going to do that, which, it's valid, whatever works for you, but do make sure that you check your trash on a regular basis just to make sure that you haven't missed something that was important. But you need to do that on a regular basis because the email systems all clear out your trash after X number of days or weeks. So you do want to go and check on that. So yeah, if you want me to do a whole show on rules, I am happy to do that. I will put that into my calendar. Just let me know. Because there's a lot of power in rules, but it is a little more geeky tech. So what I love about this one is that the fact that it is just so simple, so straightforward, and it'll work for everybody out there. The trick is just understanding the difference between the dots and the plus sign. So the plus signs give you that searchability, the filtering. I mean, you can write a rule for the dots as far as filtering, but you have to be very specific about your patterns. It's much simpler with the plus signs. You put in username, plus sign, and whatever, and then you can do rules, you can filter, you can sort, you can do all that kind of stuff just off of that, and you haven't had to load in any extensions or understand the complexities of rules. So that's why I love this so much, because it's really powerful and really simple. And there's so few things in technology that fall into that category that I really like to celebrate those. I like to make sure that people know about those. And yes, so there's that. So it makes it easier to track things. Another thing that I use it for personally, and I've had a week. Actually, it's been 2 weeks. I use it also when I am contacting support, right? So if I've reached out to a company support team because I'm having a problem or I have a question or whatever, like for example, there's a certain retailer that I made a purchase from. They did not send me the right thing. I sent it back according to their rules. They have promised me 3 times now that they're going to give me the credit and that it would get processed in 2 to 5 days. And we are 6 weeks in and I haven't gotten it. So I've gone to my credit card company about that. But I have an entire thread of it. And I did the username plus and the company name. I did company name support. So every time they try to say that it's a new conversation, I bring up the email thread and all the threads, because they keep trying to break it out. I've kept it in one thread and they keep trying to break it out into new threads. And I'm like, no, here's all of them. And then when I went to the credit card and we were going back and forth about it, they're like, well, do you have any proof? And I'm like, oh, do I have proof? And I sent them all the stuff. And it was so easy for me because I had put that extension on it, which took seconds then for me to open it up and give it to them. And the credit card the person I was talking with, they're like, wow, you're organized. But it just made it such a smooth, easy process for me. So again, once you get into the habit of this, and with that extra couple of seconds of forethought of, you know what, who knows how this is going to go, let me just put this plus sign in just in case so I can track it easier, has really paid off for me. Ace, yeah, right. They don't know who they're asking, right? Well, yeah, I was taught well on that score. I definitely. Oh, that's not the right one. That's not going to work. Okay, never mind. I don't know why that's not working. That's from a previous show, but yes, they did know who they were asking, and because most people don't do this kind of stuff, or they don't keep track of it. But that's why I like the email communications. I also just bonus tip here. I also always copy the chat. Most of them give you the option of getting an email, but sometimes the email doesn't come through. So I always make a copy of the chat until I see whether or not I get the email that has the same information in it, because again, you want to have the documentation, and a lot of times you don't realize you need it until too late. So I always do it up front. If I don't need it, that's great. I can delete it if they, do what they said they were going to do the first try. But by keeping that thread so that, if you're 6-8 weeks in and you're still having the same argument with them, you've got the paper trail. You can prove everything. So yes, that is absolutely true, Ace. Okay. So that was it. Okay, so that's everything. Like I said, if you want more information on it, if you want me to do do a deeper dive on the rules, just let me know. You can go here, or you can pop it into the comments in whatever platform you're on. I do go back and read all the comments. Just remember, one of me, many of you, so it takes me a little time, but I always do go back and do that. So feel free. That's the whole tip. That's the whole secret that makes your life so much easier. However, I love you folks. So for you folks who power through to the end, I can't thank you enough. I mean, it really does help me get the word out, which just makes the channel grow, which means I can do more for you. I'm going to share one more tip with you, and that is that you can combine these. So you can combine the plus sign with the dot if that is something that you want, and it does all work for you. So let me show you an example of what that looks like. So this is what I'm talking about when we're talking about combining things. Again, this got a little long. Come on. Oops, I'm putting the cursor on the wrong thing. I have too many monitors, and it's a lovely problem to have. Okay, so here's the line. So you can do what we talked about, right? Username plus whatever, right? Amazon, school name, whatever. And then you can also do plus, emails or whatever. So here's an example of how a friend of mine uses this, right? So they have their, standard Gmail username. They put the school name, right? They have several kids, so they put, and they're in different schools because they're different ages. So they put the school name, but they also put the kid's name, because at some point, the kids overlap, right? When they're in grammar school, they're all there. Then, somebody goes to high school. Now there's 2 schools to deal with. So this makes it possible for them to very quickly identify if this was for kid A, kid B, or kid C. So by combining the two of those, you get even more flexibility and more functionality. And again, all of this is working off of your main Gmail, because whatever comes after the plus sign or after the dot, Gmail just goes whatever. This is who this is going to. So it's going to this at gmail.com, and then this is just for you. This is for you to manage things. Hey, Yvonne, how you doing? Good to see you. So that is it. If you have any questions, if you have any other tips that you'd like to share or examples that are working really well for you, love for you to share those in the comments. But other than that, we will see you next week. We're here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I would love to have you hanging out in the chat if you'd like to, but if not, jumping in the comments is always a good thing too, and we will talk again soon. Bye.